Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9. I'm Paul Kretzmer, introducing today's broadcast with Steve Tuzanu.
Welcome to the WIHS Journal. I'm WIHS General Manager Steve Tuzanu, and with me by way of telephone is Yarissa Reyes, who is the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with the Alzheimer's Association. Yarissa, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're talking about Alzheimer's disease. How prevalent is that in America? How big a problem is that?
Alzheimer's disease affects more than 6 million Americans. And in the Hispanic community in particular, we are disproportionately affected at a rate of 1.5 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's or another type of dementia when compared to white Americans who are not of Hispanic Latino descent.
Yarissa, how can a person determine if a loved one has Alzheimer's? What are the symptoms?
Well, the first step to note is to recognize the 10 early signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's and dementia. And we've created a webpage, 10signs.org, where we talk about what is a typical age-related change and what isn't. So things like, memory loss that disrupts your daily life, challenges in planning or solving problems, difficulty completing familiar tasks. For example, if someone who is a well-known cook that has this go-to recipe that everyone loves, all of a sudden they forget the steps to the recipe or what ingredients, they confuse the ingredients that go in that recipe that they're so well known for, that's a big red flag. That would not be normal aging. So we've compiled this list at 10signs.org, and we'll give, examples of the typical age-related changes versus not.
So what are the differences? I forget things now and then, but I don't believe that I have Alzheimer's. How can we tell the difference between just simple memory loss and the onset of Alzheimer's?
We all misplace things from time to time. We may forget an appointment here or there or somebody's name. That's normal. But when you misplace something and you are not able to retrace your steps to be able to find them again, or you misplace something and you find it in an unusual place. For example, I lost my keys and someone finds them inside the refrigerator. Big red flag. We all have times where we lose our keys, but finding them inside of a refrigerator, that would be a big red flag. Another thing would be if you have a normal route that you take to work every day or to church, and all of a sudden you find yourself at an intersection and you don't know where you're going. You forgot where you were. That is another red flag.
Where do you go to take somebody who you suspect has Alzheimer's? How and where does that get diagnosed?
Well, that is a great question. We would encourage anyone who notices these signs to talk to their medical provider first and foremost. Have the conversation with your doctor. We have a guide for having the conversation because we know that could be a very difficult conversation. How do you bring this up? So we put together a list of suggestions, questions to go over with your doctor. So that will be the first step. Of course, to receive an accurate diagnosis, there are medical tests that need to be done, such as, MRI or a PET scan, some blood tests possibly, but it all starts with, visiting the doctor and having that conversation.
You have a loved one that's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. What can be done about it?
Alzheimer's currently does not have a cure. However, there are treatments available that can slow down the progression of the disease. And these treatments are only available for the people in the very early stages of the disease. So early detection, early diagnosis really offers you the best opportunity to receive treatment so that you can stay at that early stage for much longer. Early detection and diagnosis of these conditions offer an opportunity for you to be involved in your care plan, in your treatment plan, to be able to participate in clinical trials, to make changes to your lifestyle that can help also slow down the progression of the disease. More time to plan for the future and more, quality of life with your loved ones. So early detection, early diagnosis are the first steps towards creating a plan of action.
You mentioned lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle is most likely to prevent the onset of Alzheimer's?
There is no prevention of Alzheimer's per se. However, there are things we can do that can help reduce your risk for cognitive decline in the future. And, things that are good for your heart are also good for the brain. Think about having adequate sleep, feeling rested in the morning. That's important. Reducing your stress, it's important. Eating well, having a healthy diet. We suggest a Mediterranean-based style diet. Exercising, challenging your brain to learn new things, get a new hobby, learn a new language. Being social. We saw increase during the pandemic, during the isolation period. We saw an increase in Alzheimer's because people were not socializing. They weren't receiving visits. And so, all of those things make a difference and can reduce your risk for cognitive decline in the future.
Thank you, Urissa. My second guest is Heidi Arthur. She is the Chief Campaign Development Officer with the Ad Council. Heidi, you wish to promote awareness of Alzheimer's. Why is that?
Well, it's important because there's lots of information and education and empowerment that can happen through these campaigns that could increase the number of people who are getting the disease detected at an earlier stage. And we know that close family members who are the ones that know their loved ones best, they're typically the person who will notice that there might be a memory issue or a cognitive problem. But our research shows that they're often really hesitant to say something for a number of reasons. So the campaign can empower people, make them understand that some good things do come with age and some don't, and learn the signs so that you can get the benefits of early detection.
How big a need is it for America to understand Alzheimer's and be aware of it?
It's incredibly important. More than 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, and 1 in 3 seniors die from Alzheimer's or another dementia. And with the size of the aging population, it's important that we get this message out because we know early detection and early treatment has benefits to loved ones and those who are experiencing Alzheimer's or dementia.
Now I'm going to ask you an unusual question. Doesn't everybody know about Alzheimer's?
There's a lot of misperceptions, quite honestly. I think the depth of knowledge is not there, certainly in many communities. And it's important for us to understand where the gaps are within each audience segment, which is why we're launching this campaign in both English and Spanish. It's designed for Hispanic audiences to really meet them where they are and address the issues that they might be facing that are different for other communities head on.
What kind of misperceptions do you come across?
My mom forgot something. Oh, she's just getting old. The misperception and understanding around the signs, which is why the campaign itself drives people to 10signs.org so that you can learn the 10 key warning signs of Alzheimer's and other dementia and understand what's a normal part of aging and what could be an indicator that we need to get it checked out.
What is the most likely age a person could get Alzheimer's?
We know that the biggest risk factor for Alzheimer's is age. And so typically we see an increase 65 plus. Hispanic families in particular tend to live in multi-generational households where you have, grandma, you may have, the parents, the children. And so it's important for people of all ages to learn the signs because even children can notice when, grandma or grandpa or auntie or uncle are not acting like their normal selves. So it's important for all of us to learn the warning signs at whatever age.
You mentioned a website earlier. I wonder if you could repeat that while we wrap up the program.
Absolutely. For more information, visit 10signs.org or call the Alzheimer's Association 24/7 helpline at 1-800-272-3900. That website again, 10signs.org, or call 1-800-272-3900.
We've been speaking today with Urissa Reyes, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with the Alzheimer's Association, and Heidi Arthur, who is the Chief Campaign Development Officer with the Ad Council. Thank you for joining us on the WIHS Journal. I'm Steve Tuzinu.
For further information about what you heard today, call us at 860-346-1049, 860-346-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Paul Kretzmer for Steve Tuzinu on the WIHS Journal. Public Affairs from 104.9 WIHS.